Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the Court, Aereo's business model is to enable thousands of paying strangers to watch live TV online. Aereo's legal argument is that it can make all of that happen without publicly performing. But Congress passed a statute that squarely forecloses that rather counterintuitive submission. Because although the Internet and the thousands of mini antennas are new, the basic service that Aereo is providing is not materially different from the service provided by the cable company before this Court in 1969.
Why aren't they cable companies?
They're not.
I'm looking at everybody's been arguing this case as if for sure they're not. But I look at the definition of a cable company, and it seems to fit. A facility located in any state. They've got whatever they have, a warehouse or a building in Brooklyn. That receives signal transmissions or programs broadcast by television broadcast stations. They're taking the signals off of the
They're taking the signals, right.
Right, I'm sorry, they are. Makes secondary transmissions by wires, cables, or other communication channels. Seems to me that a little antenna with a dime fits that definition. To subscribing members of the public who pay for such service. I mean, I read it and I say, why aren't they a cable company?
Well, Justice Sotomayor, a couple of things. First of all, I mean, I think if you're already at that point, you've probably understood that just like a cable company, they're publicly performing, and maybe they qualify as a cable company, and maybe they could qualify for the compulsory license that's available to cable companies under Section 111 of the statute.
But this gets it mixed up. Do we have to go to all of those other questions if we find that they're a cable company? We say they're a cable company, they get the compulsory license.
Well, no, there's lots of conditions on the compulsory license. And I think the first place, the reason that we haven't been debating about whether they're a cable company is because they don't want to be a cable company. They have a footnote in the red brief that makes it clear. They are not a cable company in their view. They don't want to be a cable company. And I think that's because coming with a cable company, it might potentially get you into the compulsory license, but it brings with it a lot of obligations that come with being a cable company.
Yeah, but that's why they don't want it.
Exactly.
That isn't the question.
Well, here's the other thing is I
the
think —
The question is, are they?
I don't think they are. That's really ultimately a question under the Federal Communications Act. But here's why, if I could, I think, and Mr. Frederick will certainly speak to this if you want him to, but I think the reason they don't want to be a cable company is because I think their basic business model would not allow them to qualify for the compulsory license anyways.
But I'd still like to know the answer to the question, in your opinion. And, of course, if you want a reason, I'll give you my reason. If we take the public performance, maybe we run into what Professor Nimmer saw as a problem. Why isn't what used to be called a phonograph record store that sells phonograph records to 10,000 customers giving a public performance? It seems to fall within that definition. Well, but if it is, there's no first sale doctrine, and it's a big problem. So we could avoid that problem. Now, that's why I'm very interested in the answer, not just what they want.
Well, I don't think they are ultimately a cable company, and we could debate that question, but it's not the question before you. So maybe I could give you some comfort about why you don't need to decide that question.
Well, perhaps we should remand it, because my reason for wanting to decide it is what I said. And what you've read in their briefs is they, and they're supporting Amici, have thrown up a series of serious problems not involving them, like the cloud, which the government tells us to ignore, and many others, which make me nervous about taking your preferred route. So that's why I was interested in this question.
But, Justice Breyer, I think it's very important to understand that even if they're a cable company, it doesn't make all these problems go away, because they would be a cable company that, by very virtue of what they want to point to, which is their user-specific copies, I don't think they would qualify for the compulsory license. I also think the better way to avoid your concerns is to maybe take them on directly. The reason that the record company is not involved in a public performance is it's not involved in any performance at all. But that's different, of course, from an online music store, which not only provides a download of something, but actually performs it and streams it and allows it live. And that is a basic distinction that's not only recognized by the Second Circuit in the ASCAP case, but it's also recognized in the real world by the way these different services are structured. If you provide downloads of music, you get a distribution license or a reproduction license. If you provide streaming of music where you also have a contemporaneous live performance, then you also get a public performance license.
Is your definition, I mean, Justice Breyer has already said he's troubled about the phonograph store and the Dropbox and the iCloud. I'm also worried about how to define or public performance or the performance of a work publicly, which I guess is the better way to do it according to you. How do I define that so that someone who sells coaxial cable to a resident of a building is not swept up as a participant in this? Or someone who, the sort of passive storage advisors, that this is really hard for me.
Okay, but
what do I do to avoid, what do we do, not me, but what does the court do to avoid a definition or an acceptance of a definition that might make those people liable?